All right, this is Google Sheets Basics, like the bare bones basics, guys. All right, so it's Live with Liv's Practical Life. I promised you learning type things, and here we are. So I've got a promo code tracker here. This is one to show you that your Excel sheets, Google Doc sheets, they don't have to look boring. You can actually make them look a little bit fun and enjoyable. So this is a promo code tracker that I did for myself for when I was selling things on Etsy. So I've got my promo code, my discount, the type of discount, promo duration, coupon link, uses, and revenue. So we've got our code, the one that we want to know what it is, because Etsy's not very good about having like a cohesive space for you to remember what each of your codes are that you're running. And then we've got our discount type. So this was a save 50% off promo duration. I could put the link for the coupon there if I wanted to. Uses is how many times it was used, and revenue, how much money did I make from that promo code. Now, my favorite thing here are these drop downs. These make it extra handy to utilize things that are used over and over and over again to make it a quick selection. So I can change this to free standard shipping. I can put it to a fixed amount off, and that just makes it a quick thing. So like for here, I've got free ship. I didn't put in a discount there because it's just free standard shipping. And then this one's 5 off, so $5 off the total. It's a fixed amount. So then what I could do is I could add tabs down here. So I right clicked down on the bottom, and we can duplicate our tab. We can copy our tab. I'm going to duplicate it. Okay, so that just made another one that looks exactly the same, but I could rename it instead, and this could be, let's say, Thrivecart. So now I could have my Thrivecart promo on here as well. So you can have a grouping of things that are similar, and you only have to do the settings to one sheet and then just duplicate it over. And then the cool thing is, so Thrivecart, we're not going to use the same info, right? So I'm just going to click, drag, delete, and it keeps your drop downs when you do that. You don't have to redo them. So you're only getting rid of the information itself and not the actual settings. So let's go ahead and pop over to a blank one. So I just opened my Google Chrome down here, starting from scratch. I've got my dots. I'm going to hit Sheets. We're going to start with a blank spreadsheet, and we're going to do, let's say, seed varieties, because we'll live life outdoors. That's also me, right? So variety, we want to know when we started our seeds. We want to know when our seeds germinated or sprouted. Let's say we want to know days to harvest, so how long it's going to take for us to get food, and notes, because we want to know whether or not we like what we grow, right? Put any notes, maybe they were terrible for bugs or something. And this is very tiny for me, so I'm just clicking up here in the corner to select the whole document and changing the font size up here. Now, the font size changed, made it so that this text is not readable in the column. So what I did is I double clicked here. That automatically extends it out to the width of the text. You can make these bigger. You can just click and drag. You can click and drag to make it smaller. Maybe you didn't like that you put this in this column and you wanted that column there. That's completely up to you. You can click and drag columns and move them around. And then we can also come down here and name our sheet. So that's a right click, rename. We'll do seed starting. And let's say we're going to do these by year. We want to keep track. We want to know what we grew each year and how well it did. So that's what we're going to do there. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to make these a bit bigger. We're going to go like 16. We're going to stretch these out. And you know what? I don't want it to be white. So I'm clicking in the corner again. I'm going to do a custom color. We'll go over here. We'll do some like super light green. So that was the fill color up here. I clicked on the plus sign for custom, selected my color, and then we've got our color here. And then under here, so variety, let's say sugar rush peach. Those are peppers. And let's do monster bell peppers. Let's do purple radishes, Spanish radishes, and let's do some, let's see, like winter lettuce and butter crunch lettuce. All right, and then we want to know when we started it. Well, we haven't started these things yet. That's too soon. So let's just say we start on March 1st. And then we don't know when they germinated. We can come back and fill that in. Days to harvest. Peppers are typically a like an 80 to 95 day harvest. Okay. And then radishes are somewhere between 28 to, let's say, 50 days. There's definitely a range there for those. And then lettuce, I'm not really sure about lettuce. We'll make up a day here, okay? Now, if you had 50 different varieties going here, that'd be quite a bit of work to have to fill in every single one of these each time, right? So let's go ahead and get our drop down in place. So I'm going to select column D, but I don't want it to make this first one a drop down, right? Because it's our title. So I just clicked on D up here. It selected the whole column. I'm holding down Control on my keyboard and clicking that first one. So it deselected that first one. Now, let's try that again. Now I'm going to right click and then we're going to do drop down. And now it just changed it into a drop down and it actually grabbed that information that I have here. So now all I have to do is change the colors. So 80 to 95, those are our peppers. We're going to make those green. 28 to 50 were our radishes, and the 30 to 45 were our lettuce. So now that I've changed those colors, I can go ahead and click done. Or I can add another item. So I could add, one for tomatoes. I could add one for melons and such. I don't have any of those on this list right now, so I'm just going to remove that value and I'm going to click done. Now, let's say that you did want to add tomatoes onto there. So we're going to put my favorite, start with Lois, and let's say that we need a different date range. So I just clicked on one of the cells. I'm going to click on the edit button, which is this little pencil. We're going to go ahead and add another item. And let's say that those are 80 to 100 days. We're going to make tomatoes bright red and we're going to click done. And this message is going to pop up. It's going to ask you if you want to apply that same property to the rest of the cells. Yes, you do. So apply to all. And now I have the option for the tomatoes. So then if I want to do, let's say, I don't know, I can't think of a variety right now, but red tomatoes, now I can just drop down. So that makes the process a lot faster for things that are repeatable. Because we don't want to be having to type these in every single time. And it's also just a reminder too of what your options are, what they typically are. And then again, if we want to copy this, so we can duplicate. So right click, duplicate. And now it just duplicated the entire document. So we're going to change this to rename. So that was a right click on the tab name, rename to 2027. That'll be our next year. Seed starting 2027. But we don't want the same information in here, right? Maybe we're not going to do the monster bell peppers again. And really, we just decided we hated everything except for sugar rush peach. So I need this information cleared out of here. So I'm just going to click and drag to select that. I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard. The cool thing about that, again, is that it deletes the information, but it didn't delete your settings. So you still have all of this here, and you didn't have to do any extra work other than deleting that information out so that you could go ahead and start over on this page. Now, if you had like 100 things on here and you needed to delete the whole sheet, but you wanted to keep your headings, you could just click up here in the top, hit Control, and click 1. See that deselected your top row with your headings? And then I can hit delete and my headings are fine. It didn't touch any of my headings. And then don't forget, it will save it, but make sure that you rename your document. So we're going to do seed starting, and I just hit enter. So up here, if you just click, it allows you to start typing, and then you can either hit enter when you're done, or you can just click off of it. So let's say we're done with this. So we're going to just X out of here, which just closed me out of my Chrome. But let's say we come back to, like we started our seeds and we want to add information, right? So we went to Google Chrome, we went to our dots, we went to our sheets. Now it's right here. It's showing me what I've done, like worked on most recently. So we're going to click on seed starting. And now we can go back and let's say that time has passed. We've started our seeds and they germinated. Let's see, peppers take roughly 14 days or so, 7 to 14 days. Some of them are slower. So let's just call it 14. So those germinated on 3/15. We have our days to harvest, and we still don't have any notes because this is our first year on them. Or maybe you remember from last year. So like Sugar Rush Peach, that's one of our favorites. So I can put favorite pick. And then maybe by the end of the season, you say, well, these red tomatoes, I did not like the flavor. Or they had pest damage, severe pest damage. Maybe they cracked a lot with infrequent watering or rain. And then you can repeat that process down here. Now that is the very basics, and the basics do help you because a lot of job places now are utilizing Google Workspace, so Google Sheets, Google Docs. They're utilizing those on the daily for their business. And a lot of them just want something simple like this, where you're just keeping track of information. It doesn't necessarily have numbers attached to it that you're calculating. It's just a way to track info. Other places will want more than that, then this is a very robust system. You can make, you can put images in here, you can make charts and tables, you can use the functions. Those things are things that are not my area of expertise. Maybe I'll dive into those for you. Just poke around myself. I have used like a sum to do the sum of a column or side, At one point, I did know all of those things in Excel, but that's been over a decade now. But again, having the basics, that will really help you because a lot of people don't even know anything to do with the Google Suite stuff. And Excel, I don't know if Excel has these options here, but Excel is basically the same in the formatting. So you can still go across the top, put your columns up there, you can put your information down here, you're still going to have the tabs, and you're still going to have to save it and come back to it later. Alright guys, so I hope that helps some of you, and I don't know what the next one will be, but I was just excited to get this one done, and I'll see you guys in the next one.